All of a sudden, I was surrounded by this little green man, and if I didn't know that I had just taken a substance, I would be absolutely 100% sure that I'd been abducted by aliens. And mind you, I was already halfway through a DMT trip, seeing something completely different when the DMT entities decided to kick in the doors. The archetypical green men finally showed up. They were even smaller and even greener than what I had imagined. I was super excited. I had never seen them before. Although many people say in their DMT reports that they see these gray aliens quite often. The closest thing I've seen is my very first video on my channel. All of a sudden, a bunch of them surrounded me. They all looked very surprised and couldn't figure out how I appeared in front of them. They didn't look menacing. They were actually kind of cute and welcoming. They had these big, solid black eyes through which I could still read some emotion. Their bodies were glowing with this warm green light. They were super curious and cautiously approached me and kept getting closer and closer until two of them stood directly over me. That's when I realized that something's about to go down in this quiet corner of the DMT realm. And surprise, surprise, instantly I got strapped down to a table and a huge metallic tube appeared right in front of me. It was very colorful and was reflecting the DMT patterns of all the faces of the aliens. I looked at both of the entities thinking, what is this tube for? As it was slowly approaching my mouth and I could feel my throat being forced open. What can I tell you? Typical DMT aliens, they don't waste any time getting to the probing part. The entities were looking calmly at me and were telepathically telling me everything's okay, no need to be alarmed. They were both glowing in their skin and very interesting patterns, which made me feel nice and comfortable until this metal tube plunged right into my throat and I could physically feel it entering my body. It was at this point that I realized things are not going as expected, on my end at least. So I shook my head, trying to break free, as I was saying that I had had enough of this. I managed to break loose from the contraption and all of the DMT entities moved away from me and were visibly unhappy with my actions. Long glowing spears appeared in their tiny hands and they started poking me as I was obviously not complying with their demands. At this point, I burst into laughter as what I was looking at was absolutely ridiculous, and yet I was seeing it clear as day. And on top of that, I could feel the poking from their tiny spears on my skin. To be fair, the night before, I watched the movie Cure for Wellness on Netflix, which had a scene where a tube was inserted in the main character's throat. This clearly shows me that under the influence of DMT, your memories, experiences and sensations all get jumbled together with an infinite palette of colors and lights to create something so alien in your consciousness that even you can't recognize it. I can absolutely imagine some poor unsuspecting soul getting an endogenous hit of DMT in the middle of the night and then trying to come to terms with it the next day. And if I have to bet, the majority of alien abduction experiences that happen in the middle of the night while the person is sleeping have something to do with DMT. If the last thing I remember is going to bed and then I had this experience, you bet I would be convinced that I was taken aboard an alien spaceship, because for some reason this is the most logical explanation and this is the first thing anybody thinks of, that somebody came from another planet in a metal ship to come and take you out of your bedroom. But as Terran McKenna says, the other is disguising itself as an alien abduction experience just so it doesn't alarm us, which means that whatever is going on is way stranger than we can imagine. But the most interesting part is that the DMT trip continued in the next video.